Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. If you were one of the people wondering when is Khamzat Chimaev going to fight next, we finally have an answer from a reliable source. Rumors have been swirling around Khamzat Chimaev since he last fought at UFC 267 back in October. Well, we finally have an answer. Dana White said in an interview today that Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns is being targeted for UFC 273, which takes place April 9th. I mean, honestly, I know the fight's not 100% official, but Dana White made it seem like it's basically set in stone at this point. And actually, at the end of this video, I'm going to speculate why it took so long for this fight to actually come to fruition and why the bout agreements aren't signed yet. But we'll talk about that in a minute. I am so hyped for this matchup. I absolutely love this matchup. And if you're one of the Khamzat Chimaev fans, you've been waiting to see him test it. And you've been waiting since, I think it was December of 2020, when Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards was originally scheduled. And unfortunately, that fight did not happen. Then they rebooked it for January, and then it didn't happen again. Then they rebooked it for March, and then it didn't happen again. And I mean, I was dying to see Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards. It never happened. Maybe it will happen in the future. But now Khamzat Chimaev returned at UFC 267 against Li Jingliang and dominated him. And now we're going to see him against top-ranked welterweight Gilbert Burns. And can you get a more exciting welterweight matchup right now in the division? I mean, Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns stylistically is so intriguing to me. You have Khamzat Chimaev, who is just such a heavy grappler, has great takedowns, is a huge welterweight, and he's shown great power. He has that huge win over Gerald Meerschaert where he just picture-perfect right hand and just brutally KO'd him. And then you have Gilbert Burns, who I think is clearly one of the best welterweights, almost stopped Usman with his hands. And then Gilbert Burns has amazing jiu-jitsu, and he's a submission threat off his back. I think this is an amazing matchup. I mean, if you want to see Khamzat Chimaev tested, who better to test him against than Gilbert Burns? And if Khamzat Chimaev can win this fight against Gilbert Burns, there is no doubt in my mind that Khamzat Chimaev will be fighting for the belt at the end of the year. His next fight will be for a belt. The UFC, Dana White knows that Khamzat Chimaev is a massive pay-per-view star in the making. I believe he's already a star. I believe that he will draw in pay-per-views for UFC 273 and make those pay-per-view sales go up for sure. And I think the UFC knows that, and that's why they are fast-tracking him. I mean, how often do we see a guy KO Gerald Meerschaert, who I believe wasn't even ranked at the time? And that win has aged well. I'm not trying to say anything about Gerald Meerschaert. And then fight like the number 2 ranked guy in Leon Edwards. That's what they originally scheduled. And the reason for that is because if Khamzat Chimaev defeated Leon Edwards, then they were going to give him the next title shot. Obviously, that never came to fruition. Khamzat got sick, and then he was out for a while, and then apparently he was contemplating retirement. And so they kind of eased him back in the competition against a decent test in Li Jingliang, and he went out there and dominated him, easily defeated him via first-round rear naked choke. And now we get to see him against Gilbert Burns. I'm super excited. And if you look at UFC 273 as a whole, the main event, Volkanovski versus Chan Sung Jung, amazing fight. I wish it was Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. Co-main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan 2. I absolutely love this fight. And the bantamweight division is my favorite men's division in the UFC right now. And then I'm assuming the featured fight on the main card will be Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns, which is a potential number 1 contender fight. You never know. You look at the welterweight division right now, it could easily be a number 1 contender fight. So the card is stacked. You also have Dreskis Duplessis versus Chris Curtis, Mackenzie Dern versus Tisha Torres, Irene Aldana versus Aspen Ladd, don't really care about that much. But you get the point. Kelvin Gastelum versus Nasruddin Imavov. Amazing fight card and an amazing addition to the fight card and a very important fight in the welterweight division. And stylistically, I don't know if you get a much more intriguing fight. So if you look at, Khamzat Chimaev fought in October, the end of October, UFC 267. And, Khamzat Chimaev kind of made his name on being active. He came into the UFC and fought like 10 days apart, getting 2 dominant wins. And that's kind of how his name blew up. And then, 2 months later, he fought Gerald Meerschaert, destroyed him. So 3 fights in the course of about 2 to 3 months. And he made his name on being active. Obviously, he was out for a long while because he was sick, lingering issues. But why, after the no damage that he took at UFC 267, why hasn't the UFC booked his next fight sooner? And I think there could be multiple reasons. but I believe it was contract negotiations between the UFC and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev came in and he fought John Phillips, Reese McKee, Gerald Meerschaert, and Li Jingliang. Not the biggest of names, and you never really see a guy elevate to the level of star power that Khamzat Chimaev has in 4 fights. So I'm assuming Khamzat Chimaev was still on his original UFC contract. And Khamzat Chimaev knows it. I'm sure his manager knows it. Khamzat Chimaev is a legitimate draw within the UFC, and he's taking a massive step up in competition fighting Gilbert Burns. And I think there has been some behind-the-scene contract negotiations going on between the UFC, Dana White, and Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, you know, he comes in, he's fighting guys like John Phillips and Reese McKee, not the best level of competition. Then he takes a slight step up with Gerald Meerschaert and then a slight step up to Li Jingliang. And I think this Gilbert Burns step up is a massive step up. And I think Khamzat Chimaev knows his worth. He knows he's fighting a legit elite level welterweight. It's the most dangerous fight of his MMA career. And he knows he should be getting paid more for it. And the UFC is known for kind of being stingy with their wallets a little bit. Obviously, this hasn't played out in the public eye, and I'm just completely speculating on it. I could be completely wrong. Maybe Khamzat has a lingering issue. Maybe Gilbert Burns has a lingering issue, and the fight had to get delayed. But I don't think there's really any other justifiable reason why this fight has not been signed. These two have been talking back and forth on social media for forever. This is the fight the fans want to see. You look at the rankings, there's really nobody else available right now. You have Kamaru Usman, he's fighting Leon Edwards next. You have Colby Covington, he's fighting Jorge Masvidal next. You have Gilbert Burns, who's available. You have Vicente Luque, who's fighting Bilal Muhammad. You have Jorge Masvidal, who's fighting Colby Covington. Then you get to Wonderboy Thompson, who's on a losing streak. Neil Magny has a fight, you know. So there's really no other options in the top 10 outside of really Gilbert Burns, or at least the top 5. I guess top 10, you could look at Sean Brady. But I don't think the UFC want to make that fight. I think they want to fast-track Khamzat Chimaev to a title shot and hopefully get Khamzat Chimaev as a champion because they see his star power already. And I think Khamzat is trying to take advantage of that with a new contract coming in. You know, he elevated his name to massive stardom, you know, just through 4 fights. And if he continues to win, I think he will be one of the UFC's biggest stars. But I cannot wait for this fight. I cannot wait for this card at UFC 273. It's an amazing card. And I hope this fight does not get canceled. Oh my God, I will be so disappointed if this fight's canceled. Well, the beauty of this just being announced now, we're only about a month away from UFC 273. So a month away, we'll get to see Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. And if he wins that fight, he's going on to fight for the title. Whether it be Leon Edwards or Kamaru Usman, those two will probably fight in the meantime. Can you imagine if Leon Edwards grabs the belt off of Kamaru Usman and then we finally get to see the Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards fight that was scheduled 3 times over, and this time it's for the welterweight title? That would be an insane storyline. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.